And we are live. Welcome back to About That Life podcast. Appreciate you guys for been tuning in. Thank you for the guys who've been subscribing. I've been seeing you guys subscribe to my personal YouTube channel, which is in the link, and also subscribing to the About That Life one. Keep running it up. Do the HBO special. Help a brother out. It's really appreciated. I got a great guest for you guys. A guy I've seen his career from when I was young, and he was balling out 6th man of the year. And we should have a lot of good, fun insight and a lot of good things to tell you. So stay tuned.
From the YBA Phoenix Fitness 24/7 basketball facility in Rockland, California, it's About That Life podcast with your host, Coach C.Collins and Coach MJ.
Get it started. 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Hey, how you doing? This is Coach C.Collins. Coach MJ isn't here right now, but we obviously still got a good show for you. Obviously, you guys have seen me do this by myself a couple times. I got a great guest for you guys today. If you're checking us out on the audio side right now, appreciate it. Obviously, if you're checking us out on YouTube, appreciate you doing that as well. Again, do the HBO special, help a brother out. The audio side's doing really, really good. We're up to, I think, 75,000 downloads. So that's really huge. Thank you guys for listening and tuning in. Obviously, I'm always trying to bump up on the YouTube algorithm, so help me out there if you can. But I'm really, really appreciative of the guests I have for you guys. At this point, I guess you could call this man a Sacramento native, even though he wasn't born and raised here. He's definitely left his legacy here. I watched him when I was younger ball out with that Sacramento Kings team with you and C. Webb and Mike Bibby and stuff like that. Like I was able to, watch that team flourish. It's really cool to have him here. We've been trying to connect for a long time, so I'm glad we finally did. Without further ado, let me introduce Bobby Jackson. Thanks for being here, man.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
So, in case you guys are completely new to basketball in general, because I know that could happen sometimes to some people listening, it would take a whole episode to run down this man's accomplishments, but I want you guys go ahead, check him out. But Bobby Jackson, for you guys who don't know, he played for the Sacramento Kings, most notably the Sacramento Kings. He's been a journeyman. He's played how long did you play in the league total?
13.
13. Yeah, I was gonna say 14 to 13 years, because like you and kind of I'm a fan of Larry Hughes too. Okay. So, and I got a chance to meet him at the Phenom camp. So you guys kind of have that, that journeyman, you know what I mean? You guys done your thing. So you're in that tier. And, I don't need to tell everybody everything. You can go ahead and do the quick rundown of your basketball journey if you would like.
Wow, man. Where do I start? Played in the NBA for 13 years. Got drafted by the Denver Nuggets in 1997. Went on to play there for 1 year. Made second team all rookie. Started like the first 55 games. Got hurt. Then got traded to Minnesota, where I played 2 years with KG and Stephon Marbury and Terrell Brandon. Then that summer, I had an opportunity to sign with the Sacramento Kings. So I came here in 2000. I signed as a free agent here in Sacramento in 2000, and I've been here ever since.
Yeah.
And that's the crazy thing, right? And who would have known that I would have been able to stay here in Sacramento for 23 years. My daughters were born, my kids was born here. They was raised here. So this is home for me, man. And, when you somewhere for 23 years, Right, I'm actually from North Carolina, Salisbury, North Carolina. I've been in Sacramento longer than I've been in North Carolina.
In North Carolina.
So this is home for me, man. I love it. The community is great, and it's been a great ride. And I think once I got here in Sacramento, I got traded to Memphis in 2005. Played there 1 year, then signed a 3-year deal with New Orleans. Played there for 2 years, and went to Houston for a year. And then I ended up finishing my last year here in Sacramento, which was 2009 and 2010. So at the end of the day, I had a great run as a player, and now I'm on the coaching side.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's a huge step for me. Been coaching for like the last 11, 12 years, trying to figure out that process.
But you had, and just so people know, obviously they could look a lot of this stuff up too, but you've had success as a coach. You know what I mean? You're not just like just coaching and you're just doing it. You know what I mean? You've had success as a coach, No,
I think that's a huge thing. I mean, like being able to come in, when I first started coaching, I didn't know shit. I didn't know nothing.
Well, I remember when I first saw you you were doing AAU.
Yes, with my daughters.
And
my son.
And I saw you doing the tribe and all that stuff. So that's when I first, got a chance to see you.
I was really passionate about coaching, especially when your kids get involved.
Yeah, of
right.
course.
And I start learning how to do things just from the practices, on how we practice, on preparing practices, what we wanted to work on, developing, and and it kind of just took a face of its own, right? And again, like I said, when I first started in the NBA, I didn't know what to expect. You don't know that side as a player,
right?
Because you don't pay attention to it.
Of course,
all you gotta do is watch film, know your personnel, right, and your work ethic is probably going to be the best thing that you're known for. So when I got to the coaching side, it was a shock because it was a lot of work.
Yeah,
right. And now in my 11th and 12th, maybe my 12th year of coaching, and it's been phenomenal, man. And I've been 12 years player development, assistant coach, and I've had the ability to work with a lot of great players. And then I just got promoted, as the number 2 in Philadelphia.
Yeah, congratulations.
Right beside Nick Nurse. So
big congratulations on that.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Right, I always like to tell people, like, you always don't know when your path is.
Right.
Right, and some people want it quick.
Yeah.
Right, and I think with the young generation, like, they want that instant gratification of success
and
really
they don't work that way. We know
like,
that.
I got kids, and they feel that way, and they think that way. And I'm just like, nah, I've been grinding. Like, it took me started playing basketball at 9 years old, 10 years old.
Yeah.
It took me up until the age of 23 to get into the NBA.
Yeah.
Right, so it's a grind. Now I'm on the next phase of my life, trying to be a head coach. It took me 12 years to get on the front of the bench in the NBA. So it's a process and steps that comes with being successful. I just want all the young people to know it's not going to happen overnight. You got to put the groundwork in. You got to have 10 toes down. And you got to be ready to do the work. Because if you ain't ready to do the work, it's not going to pay off for you.
And I appreciate you saying a lot, because you're alluding to a lot of some of the stuff I always touch on this show and things like that. And you've seen, I mean, I'm sure you've seen clips, because we mentioned you a lot, like with Deion Taylor was on the show. Lance, when he was on the show, they were like, Bob, you got to get on the show with Chris. Like, so no, I'm glad you're finally here. But no, we all agree. And, there's no fake shit about it. Like, we all agree, like you embody a lot of the culture that's, in the basketball culture in Sacramento, you know what I mean? And you're a fan favorite, you know what I mean? It's just, it is what it is, So it's, what I want you to speak on a little bit briefly is, because you've been doing the Stockton Kings, right? You've been able to absorb some of those Sacramento guys, right? Like a Jordan Ford and all those guys. Can you reflect on that and speak on your time on that a little bit? Yeah,
man. I took over the Stockton Kings 2 years ago, and I didn't know what I was doing, man. I knew I wanted to coach, right? And, I had a philosophy. I had an identity. I knew how I wanted to play, how I wanted my structure offensively, defensively, what my offensive concept was going to look like. But when you get in those shoes on that big stage,
Different.
That's different. I'm gonna tell you, it's not like. And I've coached AAU basketball.
Yeah.
I've coached high school basketball. It's different because you're coaching grown men, right? And in
they
the game,
got life issues and everything else. Yeah.
It's hard, right? The first year I struggled, and I think as a first year coach, you always gonna struggle. Like if you go in thinking you know what you going, like you think you know everything, man, it hits you in the face real quick. So that first year for me, it was an eye opener, but I learned so much, right? And I think the biggest thing with me was figuring out how to manage my player, manage the game, substitutions.
Yeah.
That was hard. The timeouts was 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Right? And you got to be prepared. You got to know what you're doing. You got to know what you're drawing up. And you got to engage the guys. Right? So for me, my first year, it was a learning experience. And I'm happy that I went through it because it taught me a lot about the coaching world. Like you think you walking in here and you think it's going to be easy.
Yeah.
It's a lot of attention to detail that comes with the game of coaching, and I would probably say the most important thing is the management of the players.
And you're dealing with, and sorry not to cut you off, I'm just saying, but you're dealing with guys who are obviously hungry, right? Because I take the guys in those situations, they're looking at a glass ceiling, right? Like they see right in front of them where they want to be, obviously, right? They want to be where you had an opportunity to play. They want a career on that NBA side. And let's make hopefully people who are watching this and listening to this understand a lot of those guys are really, really talented basketball players. So that should – I try to give my kids kind of, I try to give them context, right? Because I tell them, like, the guy that you think is weak on, let's say who had bad season, like the Houston Rockets, the guy who you think might be like the 15th man on there can go to your local 24-hour fitness, Lifetime Fitness, and most likely bust your ass. Like, because these kids think, oh, he sucks. I'm like, no, he has an NBA roster spot. Trust me, that dude don't suck. Like, you have to explain that to these kids. So now you're dealing with the G League guys, the developmental guys who are like trying to crack that ceiling. Did you maybe have some difficulties with that in per se? Not like they were insubordinate, but you're trying to relate to them as a guy who's trying to help them get to that side. You know what I mean?
You always gonna run across that. Right? I mean, especially when you're coaching athletes. Right? You always run across a guy that think he knows everything and he's the best thing since sliced bread. My biggest thing with me, and which helped me out, was I played the game for a long time. Right, and I might not be the smartest, but I do my homework. Right. I watch film. I'm organized. I'm attention to detail. I'm a great communicator when it comes to my guys. If you got an issue and you don't like your playing time, come sit down and I'll tell you why you're not playing these many minutes.
That's good.
But I also like to give guys roles. Right, for a team to be successful, in my mindset, I think everybody has to understand what their role is. Now, you can not like that role, and it's debatable for me, right? Me and you, But I always like to tell guys what their roles are before the season starts, so there's no confusion once we get into the midst of the season. Right. So for me, it's about the communication and accountability, and allowing you to be the player that I think you're going to be when you get to the NBA, because most guys think they're going to be this superstar in the league. Right. And now, man, you're going to probably be a role player coming into the league. Yeah. So you got to take that mindset. In the G, if you play in the G, you're not stepping on somebody's roster and making an immediate impact. So figure out what your role is, figure out what your niche is. And that's what I think I did more than anything, is try to help guys develop their roles and facilitate who they were as a basketball player, instead of just rolling up the ball and say, hey, go shoot up all the balls. Right. It was team concept, team chemistry. It's all about one. It's not about one person. It's about the team. And you had success doing it. So yes, I did. That's the fruit you bear right there. So let's circle back to AU a little bit, right? Because I want your perspective on that, because I do think that's part of the reason a big part of the reason why I really wanted you on the show, because you're someone
like, funny enough, watching your progression as when I was younger, watching you be a basketball player to being an AAU coach, being in that world, and then now progress. It's like, and funny enough, it's kind of the same with me. You've seen my progression as, you know, I remember when I coached against your daughter for middle school girls, right? Now, you know, you see what I'm doing here at YBA. I'm really curious of your perspective. And I really want you to speak to parents, kids, like, talk to them, because I just, you know, I'm a guy talking, right? But obviously your name, who you are, is going to have some more weight. Just is what it is, which I'm fine with, right? But speak of AAU in general as you see it. You know, you can think about it from when you were in it to just where you see it now, AAU basketball in general. Can you tell me some good and some bad points?
Yeah, I could tell you a lot, man. I think the biggest thing, like, if I go back and if I put myself in the AAU shoes and how I think now as a coach, I would have hated me as a player. You know what I'm saying? Because I was ball dominant. I didn't want to pass. I wanted to shoot all the rocks.
Right.
So I would have hated, like, as a coach.
Right. You look at yourself
I
like.
look at myself like, I can't coach this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? That's just me. Right now, I'm looking at him like pound, pound, pound,
Right.
pound, pound, pound. Like, nah, you can't play with me, player. You got to get out. Like, that's one of my pet peeves.
Right.
I don't want you pounding the rock,
You want efficiency.
man.
Right.
If it take you 7 dribbles to get somewhere, get off of it. That's just.
It's funny you're saying a lot of stuff I say in practice.
And 3 dribbles.
Yep.
Right? And I think with players now, they have to understand how to be effective and not be showboating while they're on the floor. And I think everybody's trying to make a name for themselves, right? And everybody's the next big thing or next big player that's coming up.
It's the
right?
social media.
Social media is driven. So, right, I think sometimes AAU basketball can be great when you have great teachers and coaches that's going to hold guys accountable and teach them how to do things the right way. Now, when you say just roll off the ball, now that's just another story. Now, there's going to be some talented kids that's different than the other kids on your team. For me, I think allowing them and teaching them how to play the game at an elite level, because once you get to college, you're not going to dominate the ball. Once you get to the pros, you're not going to dominate the ball. The game is changing so dramatically that nobody wants that one-on-one basketball no more.
Nope.
Like, it's only a certain amount of teams that have those players that can play one-on-one basketball.
And people, I don't think, realize how special, like, those guys, like a Kevin Durant,
Oh, man, those
they
guys
just
are
don't.
special.
They just don't get it. You know.
And it's not a lot of them.
Yeah.
But AAU basketball makes the amateurs think that they are
that
Kevin Durant.
everybody's
Yes. You scored 25, your man scored 27.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So what's the difference?
No.
But I think, AAU, I think it's trending and going in the right direction. I think it's still because of social media, right? The NIL, shoe deals, clothing, sneakers.
It's a lot of money.
Right. It's a lot of money in it. But for me, I would like it to be done the right way where everybody respects the game, but come in hungry, humble, and ready to work, right?
Nice.
And I don't want a kid on my team that's like, oh, man, I did this and I did that, and he's talking about himself. And team is not considered about one individual.
Yeah.
It's about the whole team.
Right.
Right? And so I kind of preach that. Like, if you got your own hidden agenda, if you want to get likes and you want to have your videographer watching you work out or got it with you doing AAU practices, that's fine.
Yeah.
Right? If you want to figure out how to grow your marketability, there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah. But
I love people that come in the gym that's just 10 toes down, focused, locked in, and just all about their work.
I appreciate that. And that's part of the reason why I created this platform, and even on my YouTube channel, I have a docuseries where I'm showing, and it's like, my producer Johan makes it, but it's like 5-minute episodes, 3-minute episodes. But he comes with me and he comes to my practices. He comes with me to some of the tournaments because I want people to see how it all works. You know what I mean? If like you said, I try to do it the right way. He got me on film saying, hey, we need to pass the ball. Hey, you need to play your role. Like I want people to see more of the good, because I think sometimes the bad overshadows it. You know what I mean? Like how many times, you know, you can see it on the news, a referee's getting into a fight with a parent, or, you know, big brawls going all over the place. You know, like, and my thing is, that's not the majority of AAU.
No,
most AAU basketball weekends go pretty smooth. You know what I mean? But of course, you know, you see the fights break out. And I hate to say it, it's unfortunately most of the time it's melanated people. Unfortunately, you know, our brothers and sisters out there getting into it, and it's easy to just point and say, oh, see, that's what they do. See, that's that type of basketball. So I really wanted to create this platform to sit down, listen to people's journeys, and show people the positive side of all this.
And there is a positive side, right? And I think one bad apple, two bad apples can make it can make a rotten batch for a lot of people.
Agreed.
And I think at the end of the day, right, sometimes parents, you just got to sit down and let your kid hoop. Right, I think parents sometimes think their kids are the best thing since sliced bread. Even if you get fouled hard, if you get knocked down, it's okay. Man, it is okay, right? And it's not the end of the world. So I think parents sometimes are a little bit more invested in the hype train than their kids, right? Sometimes you just, like, I was one of those parents.
Right.
I'm yelling in the stands, getting kicked out of the game. In height, like, I was bad.
But see, at least you could self-reflect and admit that. Like, you could say, hey, I should have done a little better.
Bro, I was bad. Like, I go to my daughter's high school game, my son's high school game, I'm yelling, hey, Rev, you suck. What are you doing? Like, and I reflect back, and you look at me now as a coach.
Yeah. You're a lot more chill.
I'm like this, bro. Like, practices, I'm loud, I'm yelling,
of course,
I'm energetic, but during the games, because we work so hard during that process and leading up to that week of the game, like, I just have confidence that our guys is going to follow up the game plan, and then I don't have to yell and scream and do all that stuff. Now, you may have some questionable some questionable calls, but I reflect back from coaching my daughter's team in high school and coaching them in AAU. And I was bad. I was one of those bad parents, bro. Like, and I'm like, what was you doing?
I think when we get, I mean, you know, that like we're talking about just getting older, right? You get to reflect and you think hindsight, like, damn, I should have done better. But the good part is you thought about that and you learned from it. You know what I mean? Man,
you know the biggest lesson that I learned? My daughters.
Nice.
Right? And coaching them, you got to coach a different way. You got to coach women a different way. You can't yell at them, can't scream at them.
Absolutely.
And man, my 19-year-old daughter now, who's going to be a junior at Spelman, come home from practice, and you know me, I can leave everything at the gym.
Right.
Man,
she's upset about.
Whoa, and it's upset for like 2-3 days where she wouldn't talk to me.
Oh,
and it's like, what's wrong?
Right.
Why are you mad at me? She's like, you told me that I sucked in practice, stop acting soft. I'm like,
it rolls different for boys.
Yeah,
it does.
It's different. And so when I started coaching my daughters, I figured that I had to cut back on coaching them hard. I had to bring a more positive message to them because they don't have the same mindset as the male athlete.
You're right.
Right? And you got to coach them a little different.
Right.
Not saying that they're not, like, they're competitive.
Yeah, still competitive talent, but the psychology is different.
Yeah, the psychological mind that they have, like, that she's looking at me as dad.
Yes.
Right? And she wasn't looking at me as coach. Oh, my dad talking to me crazy. She didn't see coach at all. So when we go home, it's like.
Right. Like, I don't want to talk to you, Dad.
No, Dad, I ain't messing with you. Get out my face. I don't have nothing to say to you. So for me, I had to shift a lot of my coaching philosophy and coaching style because when I played, I got talked to like I was a piece of trash.
Right.
Like,
Same here.
It was, you like, who coached you?
Right.
Like, they need their coaching license revoked. Like, and this is in college.
Right.
And I was the best player on the team. So just getting that tough mindset and that tough coaching critique, like, I had to change it, especially when I was dealing with my daughters, and it kind of helped me evolve into a more direct, honest, more positive coach that uplifted guys. And if you stepped outside the box, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
But I just try to reinforce a little bit more positive vibe that didn't disrupt practices and
That's
games.
very cool. Very cool. So, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. Doug Christie is on the Kings coaching staff still, correct? Right.
Yes.
That group. I know you probably get asked about this a lot, but it was just it was a good time of basketball when I watched you guys play, because my Warriors sucked during that time. So, because I'm a Bay Area kid.
Yeah.
And obviously watching Kobe, God rest his soul, and you got and Shaq, and just that whole vibe of you guys going at each other for those years and having that rivalry. Do you still reflect back with those guys, and you guys still, maybe talk every now and then and just say, man, that was a good ride? I mean, obviously, I'm sure you guys wanted to win it all, but I'm just saying, do you guys get a chance to reflect on that?
Yeah, we do, man. And I think that's a good thing about, right, getting older, right, and going back and reliving the glory days, and, figuring out as coaches now, as Doug is an assistant with the Sacramento Kings and with Philly, not reflecting on how we can impact the game at a different level. The game has changed tremendously, man.
The Steph Curry effect.
Man, right? Everybody, it's threes and layups.
Yeah.
Right? And I think the only team that kind of plays like a 2000 team is the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, I agree with you.
They play out of a low post.
Yeah.
They play out for splits. They can shoot threes, but that's not their bread and butter.
And they have a big who can pass the hell out the ball.
They got a big that can pass. And so when you go back from Blotty and C. Webb, we had those two bigs to pass the rock, right? And I think we came up short. And, if we can go back and do it again, I don't like making excuses about anything that I do in life. And, I think it was a learning situation for us, right? And people say the refs.
We all know the game. They've analyzed it on YouTube plenty of times.
So many times. So I'm one of those guys, I think Game 7 was probably the best officiated game out of the whole series. But, we just try to take what we learned 20 years ago and then try to be creative, innovative, and allow our guys to develop and grow and help them be successful basketball players when they step on the floor. Very
cool. And it is cool watching all you guys, still be in Sacramento, because I had Andre Page's son on my show before he went to his McDonald's All-American game. Nice. So we had a good podcast, you know what I mean? And that was really cool, just talking to him, reflecting with him. So because again, my lens is unique. I got to watch you guys do it, and now I'm talking to his kid about it. You know what I mean? That's all. That is crazy. That was an interesting experience. So no, it's just big up to you guys, and what you've done with the basketball culture here. So I do want to talk about this next venture for you with Philly. I'm assuming you're for sure excited.
Super excited.
And you did kind of mention it just earlier in the show. You want to be a head coach, I'm assuming, for an NBA team, one day. And, well, kind of a two-part question. Before you talk about Philly, with what the Kings did this past year and with Coach Brown, with Mike, before that, have you, kind of known him or talked to him or any of that stuff? Or was this like your – because I'm assuming you guys talked and, you got a chance to kind of pick his brain and see things and learn from him from this year that hopefully you're going to most likely carry with you for the rest of your career. What are some of those things maybe that might have helped you grow?
Number one, I think Mike is a phenomenal coach, right? And coming in, I didn't know him like that. I knew of him. Yeah. And we didn't have a great relationship before he got here.
Okay.
I think coming in, for me, I'm always a sponge.
Right.
Right. I'm always willing to soak up and learn as much as possible. Always trying to be the first guy to the gym and the last guy to leave.
Nice.
Right. And I think that's why I've allowed myself to be successful in being in this league for 26 years and understanding, the hard work that comes with it. So with Mike, he came in and he laid down his foundation, right? And he knew what the culture that he wanted to create, right? And he hired his staff, and first day of training camp, it was like, hey, you doing this, we doing this, and it was all accountability.
Okay.
Right? And I think that's the biggest thing, accountability and communication.
Okay.
Right. I think those are the two most important things that you got to have when you're dealing with professional athletes.
Okay.
Right.
Very
If you don't have the communication, number one, how do you hold guys accountable?
Right.
Right. So I think communication, your communication with your players, getting to know them, understanding who they are as players, and then the accountability. Once you figure out who they are, he did a phenomenal job of breaking down those walls and gaining those guys' trust.
Yeah.
Right. And I think learning from him this year was phenomenal.
Nice.
Right. And just understanding the makeup of the game, asking him, how can I be better as a coach? What do I need to get better with? And I think in this coaching world, like, you need criticism.
Yeah.
Right. And it got to be constructive. It can be hard.
Yeah.
Right. But I think at the end of the day, I'm a grown man. I like constructive criticism. And I think that's the best way to go about being a good coach and a good basketball player.
I agree.
Right. And you got to be able to take criticism.
It's
right?
hard. It's hard. Sometimes it's hard for us to put a mirror on ourselves or, look and say, I probably did this wrong.
Yeah.
Right. That's always, but it's usually you find the best out of yourself when you can do that. You know what I mean? So now you go to Philly tomorrow. We start this venture. What are you looking forward to? The expectation. I mean, you're gonna be around Embiid and all these guys. Like, what are you thinking, man?
Man, I'm excited, man. It's the summertime, so a lot of guys won't be there.
Yeah,
we'll have coaches meetings leading up to summer league, and Nick hasn't really appointed any summer league duties yet. So I'm super excited to get there and get my feet wet and understanding to get the lay of the land, find a nice apartment where I can live at. But it's gonna be different.
Yeah,
right? I'm gonna be living downtown Philadelphia.
Yeah, that is good. It's not like Sacramento.
No, it's not. I won't be in the suburbs. Because our practice facility is in Camden, New Jersey, right across the highway.
Yeah, you're right.
Which is 15 minutes from Philadelphia.
So you're gonna be like in the city.
Yeah, I'm gonna be in the city. So that's going to be interesting because I haven't lived in the city since maybe 2014 when I worked with the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah.
So that process, I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm eager to learn.
Okay.
Right? I write everything down. I, make sure I got all my philosophy and everything, practices and scheduling. Nice. I got all that ready to go. But going to Philly, I'm just waiting to see what Nick is ready for me to do, have me to do, what position, what I'm going to be coaching. I think Nick is diverse where he's super smart. Yeah. And he's different, right? Yes. And he's been coach of the year, won the NBA championship. So who wouldn't want to learn from him? Yeah, no, right? Totally agree. If I have that ability to learn and take the knowledge that he's experienced in his last 10 years at being in Toronto, man, I'm open for it, right? And I think that helps me become a much better coach and redesign my philosophy and help me get to my big goal as a head coach. So I'm super excited about this next step in life.
No, that'd be really cool, man. I do hope it all. I mean, I believe it will because you've been proving it for years now, man. I think it's just a matter of time, right? It's a matter of timing and just the right circumstance. But you're doing your thing, man. I wanted to circle back with you on this one because again, you're someone who played college, did phenomenal there, played in the NBA, had a great career there. I just don't think kids nowadays, and again, maybe we just sound like the old fossils. Maybe, I try to speak from that lens, because there's video after video taken, and I'm true of this too. I say it myself, basketball's softer. These kids are softer. They're mentally I hate to say it, but it's true. Like Johan, I give him shit all the time because he's like 20-something years old. I'm like, your generation's soft as shit. Like, I just tell him that, and I try to also think, okay, at the end of the day, we still got to coach them. You know what I mean? So we still have to look at it from their lens. But I just don't think parents and kids just understand how hard it is for you to do what you did. You know what I mean? So, like the work you put in, the hours you put in. I don't know about you, but I didn't have shooting machines when I grew up.
Man.
You know what I mean?
I didn't even have a gym.
Right? That's what I'm saying. Like, we were outdoors.
We was outside on the playground.
Yeah, because
basketball.
Exactly. I grew up in Oakland. I grew up in the Bay, right? And I played college. I played overseas for a bit, right? Of course, I was like any kid. Wish I could have made it to the league, whatever, but ended up still having a solid career.
Yeah.
But it's like, even then, I think of all the hours, all the work I put in just to do that. So I'm just saying, if you could speak to your level of work and your work ethic and things like that, because I just think kids and parents don't get it. You know what I mean?
No, they don't, man. I think the biggest thing about the new generation, man, and I talked about it with, the instant, gratification of success.
Yeah.
Right? And understanding that, right, how to break down those walls, right? And how I came about it. Like, I worked out 7 days a week.
Kids don't even think of doing that.
7 days a week. Like, and understanding, like, I knew at the age 9, I knew what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I didn't have no basketball trainer. I didn't have somebody paying for my workouts. Like, I figured out how to master the game on my own. Mm-hmm. And if I would have had that the kids have right now.
Crazy, right?
Oh, my God.
I say the same thing.
Right? And so I didn't have, like, a player development guy that my parents can pay for me to get better as a hooper. I didn't have that.
Right.
Guess what? I had myself, my ball, in a park. Right? And I never went to a basketball camp.
Wow.
I never got an individual workout by anybody. Right? And for me, I kind of taught myself how to be a Division I basketball player, a pro, and even a head coach. I'm taking on a lot of these responsibilities on my own, and I've really start to get that and see how Mike Brown is maneuvering, and now I get to learn from Nick Nurse. But my playing career, like growing up as a kid, man, like I did it 7 days a week, rain, sleet, snow. I found some way, somewhere to work out. And I think the dedication part of that is kids got to understand, like, if you don't work out every single day, and you talking about being a D1 player, I was talking to a kid, my buddy's son, like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
He was like, I want to play Division I basketball. I said, how many times you work out a week?
Yeah.
He said about 3.
That's usually the common answer. Funny
I said,
enough.
what?
Yeah. And it's like one, and it's, let's make it clear, 3 days for like 1 hour or 2 hours.
Yeah, I said 3? Who you going to play for? I said, listen, man, no college coach wants you on their team. If you think you working out 3 times a week, it's going to get you there. You might play D3 basketball.
Right.
But you definitely ain't playing D1.
Unless she's like 7'2".
Man.
And even then you might sit the bench.
And he had a bad attitude.
Oh, shit.
He has a horrible attitude. Like, I went to watch them play.
Yeah.
And, man, I was like, bro. Arrogant, cocky, team loses.
How's his body language?
Oh, bad.
See.
And I was just like, bro, he coming out, like, I was talking to him. He was like, man, my team, they suck, man. Like, I was like, yo, you turned the ball over 4 times when I was watching. You didn't get back on defense. You keep asking for the ball. He was like, what do you mean? Tell me what do you mean?
You sound like me.
Like, that's how you play. I said,
Right.
bro, what are you talking about? I said, bro, you got your body language
Yeah.
and your attitude is, I don't like it. That's what I told him. I don't like it. You got to fix that, bro.
Yeah.
Because you ain't that good. You ain't that talented. And you don't work hard enough. So it was like for me, I like humbling guys, especially young athletes that think oh, man, I just scored 25 against a team that's subpar.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody cares about that, bro.
Right.
Like, you don't even play hard. You're not even a good teammate. Your teammates don't even like playing with you. I just watched this guy for 45 minutes. First time playing him. First time watching him play.
You can see him.
Oh, man. I said, bro, you're a horrible teammate. You don't play with effort. You turn the ball over. You got a great feel for the game.
Yeah.
And you can shoot it. But what else do? You don't defend. You hit a screen. You lay on it. So for me, it's being real with him. I'm not trying to kill his confidence.
No, but you got to be honest.
Yeah, but you gotta give me more. Like, you ain't giving me everything in your wheelhouse. You're not giving it to me. So why do you think you're going to be a D1 player when you don't even play hard? And you don't play hard every minute that you're on the floor. The effort and the coolness of AAU basketball, man, has changed so much that everybody thinks that's the normal way of doing things, and it's not. It's just a bad reflection on you. So if you AAU kids are listening, if you don't work out at least 5 days a week or 6 days a week, and you want to be a D1 basketball player, that ain't happening.
He's on fire.
That's just me, man.
No, I agree.
Like,
you're preaching a lot of what I say. You can circle back on damn near every episode.
And if you don't play hard, I told my 27-year-old son the other day, effort is everything for me. You can control that.
Yeah.
With anything that you do in life. If your effort sucks, whether it's playing basketball, whether it's in the workplace, whether it's your relationship, whether it's your business, right? Whether it's with your kids, if you don't have effort in everything that you do in life, how do you become successful? I always use effort with everything that I do, whether it's at practice, whether it's at coaches' meetings. Like, our effort got to be there every single day. And if you don't have that and you think, oh, well, I'm going to cheat the game.
Nah.
Oh, I'm going to go in late for work. I'm going to only be there for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Right? If I'm only going to spend minimal time with my daughter, right? Oh, I'm going to put a couple hours in with my relationship. Oh, I'm just going to go ahead and shoot for 30 minutes instead of an hour, hour and a half. Like, if you cheat yourself and the effort's not there, how do you find yourself to be successful in life when you're not pouring into your own self?
Yep.
Right? So for me, that's just how I think. And I think, I kind of give my kids all these little nuggets. Sometimes they listen, sometimes they don't.
But you still try.
I still try, and that's my job. I'm going to keep trying until I die.
The way I always use the analogy when I talk to my parents and kids, I say it's like this. And I say, listen, this D1 thing you want, this college level back, and even when I talk to my youth, because I got like 6th grade, 5th graders, things like that. So I bring high school up to them a lot. I say, you want to be a high level varsity high school player. That's your goal. Okay. It's like looking at a mountain. You're at the bottom of it and you see the top, but you forget there's a mountain. Mm-hmm. So whether you go up that mountain fast or slow, it's still a mountain. You can't just teleport to the top, and that's how I think a lot of kids and parents look at basketball. You know what I mean? I express to my parents, I say this all the time. I say, listen, when you guys see a Stephen Curry, a Kevin Durant, Kobe Bryant tapes, Michael Jordan, go back to any of the top 50 greats, whatever. I say, they're so good, they make it look easy.
Yeah.
I said, that's what you don't understand. That's when you've reached that level of mastery, even hard tasks, you make them look easy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what I always try to remind the kids and the parents. You know what I mean? So,
but they don't know the work that they put in.
Yeah.
Like, those guys, when you talk about work ethic, workload, first guy in the gym, last guy to leave, and they didn't just work out for 1 hour.
No.
They worked out for 2 hours twice a day.
Yeah.
So they getting 4 hours of work in. That's just that's how I worked out.
Right.
Now, if you work on over 60 minutes, it's like, oh, that's too much work. 60 minutes, and then you ain't coming back again at night?
No, they're like, I'm
Bro,
done.
listen, I worked out 2 hours a day. Now the load management is taking over.
Yeah.
everything. Oh, that's too much pounding on your body. Well, it wasn't too much pounding on my body when I made it to the league.
Right.
What's the difference?
Yeah.
Right? The game is the same.
Yeah.
You playing the same amount of games, right? What's the difference? Like, so when you say, oh, load management, I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah. No,
Right?
I'm not either.
Like, as a player, I didn't say I was tired doing AAU season.
Well, because, like, I remember, and I'm sure you remember this too, because I remember the play when it happened. Wasn't it Shaq?
Yeah.
He, like, stripped you and broke your hand?
Yeah.
Like, and I, because I remember, because you were tough as nails when you played. That was just hands down. And I remember, like, when he hit it, I remember seeing you, like, you came back, like, you ran off and you were like, what the like, you know, you could see you were in pain, but I could still see, like, you were trying to wrap it and still, like, come back.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, dude, like, you can't come back. Like, you know what I mean?
That was Christmas Day.
Yeah. And I remember that game, as I'm telling you. I don't even think a lot of the players nowadays even have that mentality. You know what I mean? Where, you know, you hit them, oh, you hit my elbow, I'm out. You know what I mean?
I broke my knuckle in 3 places.
Man.
I got a plate and 9 screws in it. I still wanted to go in the game.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I'm saying. I remember.
Hey, man, pop this back in place. He was like, man, that ain't popping back in place. And I'm like,
that.
what? Like, and I'm like, my hand is numb, and I'm like still ready to play.
Yeah.
Right? And like I played through so many injuries and so many tears, and like it's just a part of the process because I grew up with a different mindset.
Did that come from just your passion of the game and just, you know, your love of the game too?
I would say both.
Mm-hmm.
I would say more as a kid. I just played against older kids.
Yeah.
Where I just got beat up, knocked down, right? And, you know, and sometimes it made me into a tough guy.
Yeah.
Right? And I think injury is a part of the game. And for some people, I think depending on the injury, you need to sit down. But if it's something that you can manage and get through, like an elbow sprain or a sprained knuckle, like I've seen guys literally stop playing because they got a sprained finger.
No
right?
way.
I swear. Right? And whether it's a sprained finger, sprained ankle.
That's different.
Yeah, and that's just I've seen those type of players even in the NBA.
Yeah.
Right? And I think because of the load management and because of the medical department, how more they're have an opinion in that area, or what they say, don't play, don't practice, right. We got to get you a massage. We got to make sure your body's feeling good. I think that is the ability to be that handicaps the players a lot. But there are some guys that be like, you know what? Nah, man, I'm practicing. Yeah, right. Because some equipment. I mean, some sports management and sports physical therapy, they gonna tell you, right, hey, sit down. Yeah. As a player, you can tell me to sit down. nah. If I can walk and chew gum at the same time,
you try to be out there.
Yeah, I'm on the floor, man.
Nah, it's interesting because I've talked about on other episodes. I say medical science, sports science in general has advanced so fast. You know what I mean? Our understanding of the human body is so much more, even more so than when you played, when I played, even further back. You know what I mean? But funny enough, it feels like, and again, I could be wrong, but it feels like the bodies have become more and more fragile. Man. You know, and I think, I guess this is my theory, my working theory. I think athletes in general don't lift enough. I think lifting is becoming less and less and less. Like we're doing more resistance bands work and like body mechanic movements and yoga, and it has its place for all that. Not to knock any of it, but I just remember waking up 5 a.m., going to Oakland Tech because the wrestling coach, who was also the football coach, would open up the weight room for the athletes who wanted to be there, and I was there with the football guys. I was one of the few basketball guys doing that, and I'm a thin dude. I've never been like some big guy, so it's like lifting those weights, pumping that iron gave me that coat of armor to be able to go out there and get fucked up and still be able to keep it going. I feel like because we're so far removed from that, and like you said, with kind of this more mindset of, oh, you're hurt, sit down. Oh, you're not feeling well. Sit down. Yeah. It's making weaker bodies, right? Because the injuries are just happening all over the place in the league.
Listen, just like the NBA has changed, the sports and conditioning world has changed.
Yeah.
The physical therapy world has changed. And I think because of the load management, I think certain guys take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Right. And I think if you can play, I'm a firm believer. Like if you're a basketball player, no physical therapist should be telling you don't play.
Right.
Right. And if it's something serious,
of course,
sit down.
Yeah.
But if it's like a little tweak, or you got a back spasm or a pulled muscle in your back, like figure out how to fight through. Like I think sometimes you just gotta figure out how to manage the pain level and if you can get through it. I think sometimes we just try to take the easy way out because the game has changed tremendously, right? And you don't have that world, like you said, where lifting weights every single day. It's like yoga, core, bands.
Right.
It's not the heavy lifting no more.
And I think that's what made us. I mean, and again, I could be wrong. It's a working theory. I'm a kinesiology major, so that's where my brain goes. But I just remember, because the game is so much faster. I will say that the game is very fast. You know, you got 7-foot guys like Giannis who can move like lightning quick guards, right?
Yeah.
So the stops and the explosion is a lot more violent, if that's the right word, right? It's like boom, 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 right? So getting that resilience to that impact, to me, comes from the weight room.
Yeah.
You know, putting that load and lifting it and making that impact and impact it. But if now all you're doing is resistance bands and stretching, and it's just your body's never going to get used to it to a degree.
Yeah, I think some guys do it. I think some guys lift hard. I think some guys don't lift hard. Right. And I think that just depends on who you are as an athlete. I just know when you don't have that durability to build strength and you want to play a physical game, like at some point your body's going to break down. Yeah. I'm just wired that way because I'm old school.
Right.
Right. And I think there's a different method of how the new trainers are developing bodies now. Right. Is it right or is it wrong? Who knows? Yeah. I think at the end of the day, right, I'm old school. I like the old school way of how you do things.
Yeah.
Right, but you also got to be open to doing new things. Maybe you add heavy lifting and the core and the stretching and the bands into your workout. I just don't think you can do heavy.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
So it's got to be kind of big mixture of how you build out your body. Right, especially with the knees, the backs, the ankles, right? I think that part of the body, which takes the most pounding, is something that you really got to pay attention to. And right, I was lucky that I didn't have a lot. I had ACL my freshman year in college, and after that, I didn't have no more knee problems.
That's good,
right? And so everything else was
my
hands. Everything else was my hands. So I was blessed not to have any major injuries, whether it's my ankles, whether it's my knees.
Right.
A lot of my injuries come from my hands.
I tore my Achilles years back. And,
oh wow.
Yeah, and it was just I was playing at Destiny Church in the men's league. It was competitive or whatever, but I just made one hard. Boom.
Yeah, man, that happens.
I know, it's crazy.
Happens. Like my athletic trainer.
Yeah.
She was hooping. Yeah. She tore her Achilles this year. Just hooping.
Body's getting old, man.
Man, I'm like, nope. You want to play B-Jacks? Nope, you got it.
I play horse.
I ain't playing no basketball, man. You guys got it.
No, man. Well, before you get out of here, I did want to mention too. Make sure the audience and everyone know. I know you've been working with BTS, right?
Yes.
The training and whatnot. Did you want to speak on that a little bit?
No, without a doubt, man. I think when I started my basketball academy 3 years ago, and you mentioned Larry Hughes, who's a part owner of BTS.
Yeah. He had talked to me about it when he was first getting into it and starting it up. Yeah.
Yeah. So it kind of came into fruition with me building a partnership and a relationship with BTS, and I started the Bobby Jackson Basketball Academy 3 years ago, right during the pandemic when it hit.
Yeah. It's an
which was
interesting
crazy.
time.
Yes,
Interesting time.
and had to shut it down. Was open literally like a month and a half, 2 months.
And then here we go.
Man,
Everything's shut down.
and then I was doing videos on, just putting out a lot of workout videos with me and my daughters, and just trying to figure out how to gain some exposure doing classes. And I'm just in an interesting place right now with it, because I partner with BTS.
Yeah.
I still have Bobby Jackson Basketball Academy.
Right.
That's not going anywhere, but like growth wise, trying to figure out how to grow the academy, but also teach the game at a high level, like, and understanding the fundamentals of the game, the development of the game, and trying to get our developers to understand how to teach, how to instruct, little details about the game that I want them to make sure they bring to the table. So it's been cool, man. And
nice.
We got 2 locations. We got a location in Citrus Heights at the 24-hour fitness. And then we got a location at the 24-hour fitness in Folsom.
Nice.
And we just opened that about 2 months ago. We probably in Folsom, we probably got about 60 kids right now. In Citrus Heights, we got like 220 kids.
Wow.
In the program.
Nice.
So it's been going well,
Yeah.
man. And it's just trying to teach the kids how to do things the right way and create an environment that teaches them the game of basketball in a fun-loving way and develop them mentally, physically, and fundamentally to give them success on the floor.
And 2 more questions before we get out of here. One, my last episode, I had Ruthie Bolton on here. And so, and obviously you having daughters, and I'm very curious of your perspective being a girl dad, when it comes to basketball, the WNBA and whatnot, and women's basketball in general. What do you think can help them? Because like I look at the women's college, like Angel Reese and the year they had, and a phenomenal year just in terms of the women's college basketball scene in general. I mean, to the point now that these women, these young ladies are making millions of dollars and NIL deals and stuff like that. What, if anything, could possibly carry over from that to the WNBA? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you had any idea to speak on that.
Yeah, I think everybody has different opinions about women's basketball, and me having 4 daughters, I think allowing them to have that platform, number one. I think number 2 is equal right pay.
Yeah.
Right, and I think being a professional athlete, and you got Becky Hammond making $1 million, and the players making $250,000.
Yeah. It's tough. I agree.
It's for me, that's the problem, right? And if we're talking about, well, we value our players, but you really don't value the players. If the WNBA don't value you, why is anybody else gonna value you? Right? And that's just how I look at it.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Right? If they can only make $250,000, and this is the WNBA, and then you pay a coach $1 million. What are you saying?
Yeah. It's
right.
tough.
So how I'm looking at, like, how can I get people to buy into that when the WNBA is not pouring? And that's just my mindset.
The aesthetic. I get it.
It's the aesthetics with it, and I'm kind of associated with the NBA. And
Right.
I just think, like, paying it forward and treating them a certain type of way and giving them equal pay is super important, right? But there's also another alternative objective that comes with that, which is you got to create revenue.
Yeah.
You got to get sponsors.
You do.
Right? It's got to be entertaining.
Yes.
Right? So there's a lot of things that comes with it, but I think that number one thing right there, until you fix that, with the coaches making more money than the players,
that's tough.
That's always going to be that's going to
create
tough, man.
It's going to create an adversarial situation. And no, I do. I've talked about it on the show. I've talked to different women hoopers, college coaches, things like that, and I tell them same thing. I say the big component that needs to be helped is the marketability, the getting butts in the seats. You know what I mean? And like you said, getting the sponsors. I said, You know, if I think basketball purists, I watch women's basketball, I watch the WNBA. You know, I'm like, but I know I'm the extreme. I'm obsessed with this game, and I love the game and stuff. So I'm always thinking, how do you appeal to the common fan? I don't think there's an answer. I just think that's the question they have to ask themselves, which will help their business grow. Ultimately, is what I'm saying.
And again, there's no answer.
Yeah.
Like, I think when you're dealing with, I think women's basketball, women's soccer, those athletes are dope.
Yeah.
Those athletes can play. Can they market themselves to put people in the seats? Can they bring in the big dollars, right? And I think that's always going to be a struggle in that marketplace, because at the end of the day, people like excitement. Like, people like threes, dunks, playing fast.
Yeah.
You know, like
the casual fan. That's
the casual
what they
fan
look at. That's what
likes
they
that.
looking at.
They don't understand like the dynamics and how dope WNBA players are, soccer players are.
Yeah.
Like, they're great in their own mindset. And the one thing I always tell my daughters is, like, life ain't fair.
Yeah.
It's not fair.
Yeah, you're right about
right?
that.
And you got to continue to break down these doors, knock down these walls, right? Until people get it, right? And I think that's even as men, as a black man, walking out that door every single day, being a head coach in this league, I got to figure out how to knock down doors where people are saying, oh, man, he an ex-athlete. He lazy.
Right.
He don't like doing it. So there's always...
Just because you play in the league, people are going to have a preconceived notion
Yeah,
of who
without
and
a
how
doubt,
you
yeah.
are. I get that.
So you just got to break down the doors, right? And who knows when those doors are going to be broken down. Some WNBA player will come by and they're going to break down the door, and then you're going to see, hopefully, that the WNBA players start to make the money that the NBA players make. I'm not saying $60 million.
Right.
But at least being compensated for the skills. But again, IG, the marketability of these young athletes, they're making more money in college than they making in the WNBA. So why would you leave college?
Exactly.
I'm going to college for 4 years if I can make $1 million a year.
Exactly.
Because that's
what's
more
happening.
money. You only making $250, and that's only the top couple players in the WNBA that's making. So why would I go to the WNBA? Why would I take a pay cut to go play for an organization where I'm not being benefited financially very well?
You're right. Absolutely. No. And thank you for speaking on that. I'm glad. And my last thing before we're out of here, obviously you got this new venture. You leave for Philly tomorrow.
Yes.
Did you have any words for the people in Sac? I know, you know, I see it just even from afar. Every time I've seen your hardwood, people just always come. I've always tried to be someone that doesn't bother you. You know what I mean? Always try to respect. Like if you're out, Paige is out, any of you guys are out, like I know people come up to you guys all the time. So I'm just saying, if you had any words to say to Sacramento, the community, the basketball people, what would you got to say to them?
I don't know, man. That's a good question, man. Like, I've been here for 23 years, and the ability, I came here 27 years old, and I'm 50 now. Just to be in this place and be here for 23 years, man, Sacramento has grown on me. Sacramento's home. I think just the city alone, like the love that they have for me, like wherever I go, like nobody messes with me. Nobody fucks with me. Right? It's love wherever I go.
I know.
And that's just, but it's also a representation of who I am and how I carry myself, right? And how I treat people, right? And being humble and being approachable and being able to talk to people and not being an asshole and having an ego and, you know, like carrying yourself the right way, right? So being here for 23 years, I've figured out how to handle myself the right way and walk in a certain manner and treat people a certain way and respect everybody that I come across. Right, and Sacramento has done nothing but accepted me, embraced me, loved me, taught me how to be a man when I was a little boy. And to the Sacramento Kings, man, like they gave me opportunity, right? And through that opportunity, I have another opportunity.
Yeah.
Right, and it's home. I'm gonna always be purple till I die. Right, and I think that's something that's special to me about the city of Sacramento. They gave me an opportunity. I came here in 2000, and I'm gonna still keep my home here. I love it, and I don't see myself going anywhere until I retire from the NBA, until I retire from coaching.
Right,
and then I don't know where that goes, but the city of Sacramento has treated me and welcomed me with open arms, and I don't have nothing but love, and I wish nothing but big and bright things for the Sacramento Kings, and just know the city of Sacramento, I'm gonna be here until it's not time for me to be here anymore. Right? I'm a native, man, and I'm
cool,
proud and I'm blessed to say I'm from the. Well, I live here. In
I
the
live
city
it. Appreciate it, man. Well, you guys have been listening. If you stayed to the end, you're a real one. Again, big shout outs to Sacramento in general, man, to the city, and thank you for embracing this man right here. And if you've been checking everything out, please, links will be in the description. I'll have a link to Bobby's IG. Please go check him out. Go follow him. Go see his journey, man. He's doing a great thing. I firmly believe you're going to be a head coach someday. And when that happens, I hope you come back to the show. But I really appreciate you doing this, man, and taking the time out to do it. You have any quick shout outs you want to do for anybody real quick?
Man, just thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it. Much success to you with your show, man. And I know you've been doing this for a minute, grinding. You've been in the AAU world.
Yeah, I'm probably going to be doing the AAU till the day I'm no longer here.
Yeah, much success to you, man. And just check out Bobby Jackson 73 on Instagram, and BTS basketball on Instagram, BJBA 24 on Instagram. We're just trying to bring creative, innovative style of basketball that teach fundamentals, but also be dedicated to teaching them about the game of life as well. Right? Because I think it's more than just basketball.
Yes.
Right.
Great.
It's about the game of life. Right. If we can teach them how to be great young women and great young men when they step out, when they walk out the gym or walk out that door, I think we've done our job. So more positive coaching, more positive teaching, and more positive development for our youth, man.
All right, man. Well, you heard it. He said it all. Please, again, hit that like and subscribe. Appreciate you guys for checking us out, and we are out.